A software engineer. What some people think, I guess something in between a tech support worker and a jacked ass Chris Hemsworth playing mainframe hacking black hat hacker that just literally is a Swiss Army knife of a nerd.
Hacking. How do you protect yourself digitally?
Stay off my computer. Keep my secrets up here, not there. You know, I think there's the usual things. You can change your passwords, encrypted code, and whatever. But you know, to be honest, I kind of limit my activity on it. You know, or if you're doing stuff or using it, be aware that someone else might be watching.
Now that's the Norse god of thunder and vim, Blackhat. So yeah, today we're going to talk about a software engineer and what exactly is it. Well, not really what is it, but maybe 5 reasons why you don't want to do it or why you shouldn't do it. A lot of these things are actually based on my opinion, so you know, do with it as you will. I'm not like a fucking expert on software engineering. You can never be, okay? So it's just based on what I think, based on my experiences. Just want to address one more thing. This video is more directed towards, I'd say, you know, beginner level people or somebody who's kind of just curious about the software engineering space. It's not really directed towards somebody who's an experienced software engineer or sort of somebody experienced in the CS, you know, just like the software tech space, right? I mean, if you are, feel free to leave a comment if you disagree, or you know, feel free to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, man. Just open forum, right? But this is my perspective. So if you guys just want to hear a fresh perspective on something different, you know, I'm reaching out from that side. Okay. Like, I want to be clear here, right? I'm talking about a software engineer as like a literal position for a software engineer. I'm not talking about CS. I'm not talking about the general computer science or general software space. I'm literally talking about the software engineer position here. We'll go into different positions and stuff. I actually want to do a series about how I like kind of like traverse through the industry so people can kind of have a better view as to what steps I basically took, which is kind of like easy and hard if you really think about it. But anyway, that's a different thing. So anyway, software engineer, right?
God fucking.
That one video describes all the mystery behind, you know, software engineering, what some people think of it. Like, some people think you just sit there and basically make, you know, video games, and some people think you're just sitting there and creating iPhone apps, and some people think you're like there to fix their printer. You know, there's so much mystery around this whole thing, and everyone thinks, oh yeah, you know, if you want to answer to all of your problems, get into software, right? So that's the whole point of this, you know, demystify a little bit. But I mean, even with this software engineering, guys, like, keep in mind, one of the points of software or anything in this kind of space is you're not exactly doing one thing when you get that job. I mean, even for a software engineer, when I was a software engineer, I did multiple things. Like, I did a little bit of DevOps, I did a little bit of QA, I did a little bit of you know, like project management stuff. A lot of different things are coming to play. The point of the position is that the majority of the work you'll be doing, maybe like 60%, will be in that software space. So you're pretty much going to be writing code for 60% of the time instead of doing processes or whatever the case is, right? And within that space, guys, there's like, you know, just to give you an example, there's multiple types of software engineers. There's front-end engineer, back-end engineer, full stack. I mean, like, you know, QA engineers. There's so many different types, right? So, you know, just keep that in mind. The whole point is to demystify it a little bit. Okay, so the reason why I decided to do this is because I keep getting a lot of questions asked by like my family friends, parents, or even just like peers, or like, you know, kids who are just finishing high school or whatever, and they're like, hey man, like, you used to be a software engineer. I'm getting a lot of questions from college kids who are just kind of graduating high school, but they want to get into college. And like, it's a hot topic now, right? Like, software engineering is a thing. It's officially been a thing for a while now, but you know, like, whenever they have somebody who's like made it somewhat, they kind of bug you. And that in my sort of ecosystem, it's me. So the problem is, I give it to these people like in the real. Like, I tell them exactly what the goods and the bads are. sort of demystify it a little bit, because there is a little bit of an aura. So I want to make sure that people know what they're getting into before, you know, there's repercussions and, you know, they can't backtrack, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but a lot of my sort of circles around me are basically like people that just can't, you know, spend fucking $30,000 on like a program and then just backtrack and say, that didn't work out, I'm gonna go find myself, right? Because that's just like not everybody has that privilege. Okay, so anyway, long story short, I demystified for them, but then they're all like confused. They're like, holy shit, like, how, you know, that what you're saying doesn't match up with like what we have in our head. And then I asked them, I'm like, what exactly do you have in your head, right? Because, and they say, oh, my teacher was a software engineer, and like, this is what he said, and it's like cool, and he was part of this company that became like Fortune 500, whatever, right? There's always some like weird story. Somebody's always part of some successful startup that became like $2 billion company or something. So there's always fallout from that kind of stuff. So, but when they tell the story though, like, I feel like a lot of people mystify it a bit, man. So like, I tell them the real, like, I've worked in real companies that do real things. I've worked from shitty companies and good companies too, but like, it's not like Google or anything like that, right? So, I'm coming from the angle that, you know, most people are in, and people don't like what I tell them, because it's like not as sexy as I think what they've heard. I know that in high school, when I was in high school, there was like literally maybe one teacher. We did like a data management class. It was data management. It wasn't even like data science, or anything. It was data management. And in that data management class, they taught us how to use Excel, stuff that literally people teach old people now. It's insane. It was bad. That was my exposure to anything computers in high school. Okay, I might be aging myself here, but I don't care. So this video series is about me describing what my opinions are in terms of why maybe you don't want to get into software engineering, mixed with maybe some facts that you guys can use to make up your own decisions. Okay, not everything's gonna be good and bad. I'm gonna do a series for good as well. Also, this is kind of a long one, so it's gonna be a multi-parter. This is probably just gonna be part one, and there's gonna be other videos, so stay with it. And if you can make it all the way to the end, then make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know how I did in the comments.